It's my honor to stand before you today in the shadows of the beautiful towers, our beautiful towers, and to report to you on the health of Antioch College. Welcome home. Welcome to your independent Antioch College. To serve the college at this critical moment in its history is a privilege, and I'm grateful daily to all of you, alumni, emeritus faculty, former students, future students, staff and administrators, past and present, and trustees. We're grateful for the opportunity you've made possible for Antioch College to again achieve its rightful place as one of the premier and most forward-thinking liberal arts colleges in this country. And of course, home to the nationally acclaimed Antioch Review and beautiful Glen Helen. We are indeed inheritors of a great legacy. Fortunately, given our present circumstances, it's a legacy marked by times of dramatic transition and transformation. Antioch has never, in its history, been a restful place. It has always pushed against norms and against the commonplace. Antioch's success is associated with the strength of the creative capacity of its leaders and its faculty in reinvention and reevaluation. But like an artist who's unable to walk away from a canvas, perhaps our supreme weakness has proven to be not knowing when to leave well enough alone. While we more often quote the great Horace Mann or the visionary Arthur Morgan, one of my favorite quotes came from a president with a very brief term of service. Many of you may have known Frank Shea. At yet another moment of crisis in the college's history in the late 70s, I believe he stated, "Antioch is a place where megalomania is complicated only by insolvency." We need an obelisk out here. What's interesting about this moment in our history is that we have within our reach an opportunity to pause and to learn from our collective experience. I'm often struck when I have the opportunity to meet with the emeritus faculty at the Friends Care Center, how often my presentation of our new ideas elicit looks that I would identify as, yeah, kid, we've tried that before. So what does leaving well enough alone mean for us today in the context of a rare opportunity for relatively unfettered reinvention? Would it be enough to restore, as has been recommended to me here on campus and in about every chapter meeting that I've attended, the contents of the catalog of 1950, 1960, 1970, 2000, or 2007? I do believe that there are some basic and important truths about the Antioch model. Given the evidence that our distinguished and accomplished alumni, individuals who influence the course of events, inventors, accomplished scientists, artists, and activists, people who live lives devoted to social justice, came from many different iterations of the Antioch College academic curriculum, argues that the organization of coursework and the exposure to a specific set of ideas is less important than the enduring relationship between a talented teacher and a passionate student. It is for this reason that our new model for Antioch College focuses so heavily on a strong liberal arts, science, and sciences foundation, on small classes, on critical and analytical thinking, and the capacity to write well and to speak well and present ideas orally. I think I see a few emeritus faculty members giving me that same look again. These are not, indeed, new ideas. They are certainly not our ideas. We make no claim that they are. However, by concentrating and then importantly sustaining our concentration on a core and cogent set of academic areas of focus, Antioch can offer as rich and as rigorous and as compelling an academic program as any college in the world. Today, not tomorrow, upon inception in 2011, we must begin to sustain our focus on building the capacity for critical thinking through time in the classroom, time in the laboratories, with talented faculty. In short, by concentrating the college's resources, both financial and human, investing and placing faculty back at the center of the institution, not just for now, but forever. Imagine, I actually realized I just said forever to a group of about 200 Antiochians. I've lost my mind. How about we just go for a decade? Same difference. To us, a decade feels like an eternity. We cannot build an academic program just for today. Like the artist, we must be prepared to walk away from the canvas. The college cannot and should not recreate every program and every area of study its proud legacy has included. Rather, it should focus on a core set of strengths and competencies. That means that what you specifically may have studied here at the college may not be within the future focus of the college or its faculty and the design of its curriculum. But what will be true, and what has really always been true, is that if you put a group of creative and passionate students in a small room, and as we all know, that room doesn't even have to be heated or painted. If you put a student in that room with a talented and empowered faculty member, great things happen. As the Emeriti faculty have been fond of telling me, and as my long ago advisor Bob Fogarty has repeated to me whenever he gets the chance, it's really not that complicated. Of course, the magic of Antioch is the chemical reaction that happens when you take those same students from that small classroom and cast them out into the world of work. Tomorrow at Folkmanis House, we will recognize Katie Yako for her wisdom and her leadership of the Antioch Independence Fund. Perhaps I should say clairvoyance, but Antioch not being a spiritual place, I'll leave it at wisdom. It was a conversation in a coffee shop in Berkeley, California with Katie some months ago that reinforced for me the need for us to concentrate on the central and defining element of an Antioch education, co-op. Antioch must invest in providing work opportunities for its students locally, nationally, and globally. It is this combination of the liberal arts with work that has led to the disproportionate representation of distinguished Antiochians in the world today. I believe that if the measure is assessed carefully on outcomes, that this is the most effective and most important educational model ever developed. At Antioch, students will work full-time. Students will have at least 6 co-op placements of 12 weeks duration. Co-op will be back, restored, and at the center of an Antioch education. Our focus will be in offering a broad range of work placements with employers who are and see themselves as part of the field faculty of the college. In recognition of the changes in the tools available to us today compared to 90 years ago when Arthur Morgan brought co-op to Antioch. We will connect these same field faculty back to our campus via interactive communication technology so that they will, with the support of our faculty, offer programming to the college on critical and also practical issues of the day. Today we've labeled this element of our curriculum the Global Seminar. That is until some very smart marketing person tells us we should call it something else. But as for now, the Global Seminar will be offered weekly on campus and will link the work of students off campus to the curriculum on campus, focused on problem solving and the desperate needs of humanity and the health of our planet, and our tradition of social justice. Even a cursory review of today's headlines should suggest that a curricular and structural link between the liberal arts and work in these areas associated with energy, food, governance, health, and water, is essential. We compare this connection with the focus that the Morgan era brought on industry, business, and engineering. Each of these today remains connected and defined by our new areas of work focus. Perhaps not surprisingly for those of you who know Katie, my conversation over coffee in Berkeley did not go as smoothly when it came to the proposed rearrangement of the historic Antioch calendar into 3 years of organization. While alumni across the nation have responded overwhelmingly positively to the revival of the college and the new design for the college, for generations who know Antioch as a 5-year or a 4-year program, it is difficult to fathom a course of study and work that can be accomplished in less time. Or perhaps it's a question not of what can be done, but of what should be done. I won't dwell on this topic, but suffice it to say that offering a curriculum that facilitates the pace with which a student wishes to move and has the capacity and skill to sustain is appropriate not just for Antioch, but for all colleges. Antioch is uniquely positioned at this moment in its history to focus on the needs of its students and our aspirations for their development. And I was pleased to hear during Steve Schwerner's awards ceremony that in fact there isn't a perfect Antioch calendar, but that has never stopped us from our effort and energy in, of course, trying to perfect that which cannot be perfected. There are some changes here that you need to note. The new Antioch calendar will represent a radically different model for higher education, but in absolute candor and fairness, it bears more resemblance to our historic calendar than not. There will be an A div, there will be a B div, there will even be a C special, which after 2 years of work I still don't understand. Although there seems to be a special bond among those people who are C special. It will be a year-round calendar. It will be designed for students to complete 150 quarter credit hours. But in the ongoing creative and accreditation planning process on which we have embarked, there have been and will be many changes. This is a work in progress that has received a great deal of interest. It has received criticism and even some praise. Transparency is messy. It's an inherently shared process and experience. What we have learned and been reminded of is that we must be flexible in our thinking and in our approach. To that end, while we will have made much of the 3-year calendar, something in which I ardently believe can be done and would be consistent with our educational values, in the end, now as always, it has been the choice of the student, and again, must be made flexible. Antioch College will offer its students a clear roadmap for a 4-year program, a roadmap for a 3.5-year program, and yes, even for a small number of students who are prepared, a roadmap for a 3-year program. But the obligation of the college to be attentive to the aspirations of its students, and importantly, to the costs of not only the undergraduate, but the graduate educational experience, will be met in our planning.